Hello, clever people, and welcome to my review for It Comes at Night. So It Comes at Night stars Joel Edgerton and a few other people. It is by the company A24, who is currently considered by many to be the greatest studio in filmmaking. They made last year's Moonlight, which won Best Picture. They also made Ex Machina, and last year they made The Witch, which is a very similar film to this in the way that the critics loved it and the audiences were mixed on it. This film is directed by a guy named Trey Edward Schultz, who is behind a film called Krisha. So Krisha came out in 2016, I believe it was. He made it for about $3,000, I believe, and shot it over the course of 9 days. So this is actually quite a big step up despite its minuscule budget. And it follows the story of this family that lives in this abandoned house. There's basically been this apocalypse that's killed millions of people. There's barely anybody left, and this family is some of the few people left. Their father is infected by the infection, the grandfather of the family. So he's killed, fire goes off, and then suddenly, almost a day later, another guy comes to them. And they ask the guy what he wants, and he says that he has a family as well. So they invite him into the place, and suddenly, some really weird stuff goes down. I don't want to spoil what that is because that's the main focus of the movie. It Comes at Night is a very untraditional horror movie. Honestly, I don't really think that you've had a film like this before. You've had similar films with similar ideas, but the way that Trey Edward Schultz directs this is extremely unique. And that is one of the best things with It Comes at Night. The fact that it's so unique. Because recently, it seems like we've had a dry season of just dull film after dull film. You recently had The Mummy. You recently had Wonder Woman. You had The Circle. The only real good films recently have been Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. You had Colossal. And that's about it. Pretty much every other film so far has just been really dry and dull. So that's why I was really excited to see It Comes at Night, and thankfully it delivered exactly on that. It was an extremely unique movie. The film takes many twists and turns. It does many unexpected things, and especially at the ending. I honestly don't think anybody can see what comes at the ending. I don't think anybody can predict it. Just the way that Trey Edward Schultz, the way it's structured, but also the way that he presents the plot and presents how each thing happens, it's all just very unique. But also, this is probably the second most stressful film of this decade. Behind A Separation, which is probably the most stressful film I've ever seen, this is the second most stressful film of the decade. And it's stressful because of how tense it is. Despite the fact that there isn't a giant monster, that there really isn't any big creature that comes at night, that there isn't anything that kills people, this is honestly one of the most tense movies I've ever seen, just through conversations with people, and just the way that it's presented. The bleak atmosphere that they set up is so terrific. You can easily see how Trey Edward Schultz spent hours, just maybe even years, working out each minute detail to make it as strong as possible, to try to make each scene build on top of another, to try to make it more and more intense and suspenseful. This film honestly has one mode. It has one tone throughout, and that tone is intense. It's just really dark and really intense, and it works perfectly because I was glued to the screen throughout. I was fascinated with everything going on. Even though it is slow, it is very effective and very memorable. And I also love how this film doesn't use any exposition at all. Do you remember just last week during my Mummy review where I said this? Do you guys remember a time where exposition wasn't forced in movies? Back in the 30s or the 40s or the 50s or maybe even the 60s, where exposition was just subtly put into the story? Yeah, those times are gone by now. Yeah, well, thankfully we just got a film that turned that around, because this film has absolutely no exposition in it. Nothing is really explained. So much is left up into your own interpretation. I can't really spoil what is left up to it, but I love it when a film doesn't give any exposition, shows the story as it is, and sort of lets you fill in the blanks and let you fill in the questions. Now, some may see it as an issue at the fact that there is really no way to fully solve the problems, but you can't really find a definitive answer because only the director has said that he's the only one that can solve it. But I sort of like that he makes it so that there's multiple interpretations, that you can have multiple theories about what's happening. And also the acting in this film is terrific. It's absolutely fantastic. I don't think it'll be nominated for an Oscar, but it should, especially for Joel Edgerton. He is absolutely amazing in this movie. He had to present something that's very bleak and very dark. It happens at the ending again. I don't want to spoil it, even though I really want to. I don't want to give away certain things for people who haven't seen it yet. But the choices that he makes and the decisions that he has to do are honestly heartbreaking. And they're terrifying. And the way that he presents them is absolutely fantastic. And I love how this film presents the horror. Because there is horror in this movie, but it's not your traditional sense of horror. The horror is through human emotion and through decisions. And Joel Edgerton brilliantly displayed that through his performance, but also everything else in the movie. Every small detail presented the idea of what decisions do, and the decisions that you make and how they affect others. It's sort of a blend of drama and horror in the way that it's so sad, it's kind of scary. And that's very unique. You rarely get a film like that. Most horror films these days are defined by how scary they are, by demons and creatures killing things, and you being scared like, oh no, if they turn the corner, will they be killed? And it's so refreshing to see a different film, and I love A24 for that. They have consistently made unique films, so that even if some of them don't land and if some of them are bad, they're at least unique and they make their own statement. And also something that was absolutely amazing about this movie was the terrific cinematography. This is probably the best cinematography I've seen all year, and it might just be the best cinematography I see throughout the rest of the year. This is absolutely terrific, and something that it does so well is complement the horror, because 80 or maybe 85% of the time the camera is moving, and because of that you never feel settled. You never feel like anything is okay. You always feel like you're up, and you always feel like you're moving, and you always feel like there's something wrong just because the camera never settled down. It was always moving, and whether it just be them sitting at the table, it would zoom in on the boy and then go over to the mother and then go over to the dad, or whether it's just them talking outside, it would be like down here and it would just slowly go up, and that helped the horror so much. You never felt like anything was okay because of that, and that was just a testament to how amazing this cinematography was. It was terrifically shot, but it also complemented to something else in the movie. Now, I did have an issue with It Comes at Night. My biggest issue is the nightmare sequences. For one, you could tell that they were just there for marketing purposes. I don't know, maybe Trey Schultz did have some purpose behind them, but I hate the way that they were exploited with the marketing to try to present it to look like a horror film. But also, they were really cliched nightmare sequences, and they come up like 4 or 5 times in the film, and that was kind of a hindrance. And also, the beginning is a bit off. I couldn't quite get into it at the beginning, but as it went along, I just became more fascinated with everything. So, in the end of the day, I would definitely recommend It Comes at Night. Don't go into this movie expecting your traditional horror movie. It's unique and it's different, and it's awesome because of that. And that's why I'll give It Comes at Night an 8 out of 10. Again, if you go into this movie not expecting a traditional horror movie, just expecting something completely new, you'll probably enjoy it. It's not a movie for everybody, but if you go in with those expectations, you'll probably love it. I wanted to let you guys know that I will be gone for the next probably week and 2 days. So during that time, I will have somebody else upload videos for me, but it's going to be about a week or in 2 days before I get a review out for 47 Meters Down, for maybe Rough Night, maybe All Eyes on Me, definitely for Transformers. So throughout this next week, I will not have any new reviews coming out, but I will have reviews for other films coming out. So, but anyway, that concludes my review. What are your thoughts on this film? Comment in the comment section below and let me know. I am Robert Burke, and this has been The Clever Critics. Goodbye.